for another segment on the Sit Down with Malik Wright, presented by First Star Logistics. On this segment, we'll be discussing winners and losers of the NBA free agency. Ev, I got to hear your thoughts. I'm going to let you kick this one off.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and start with some winners. Now, obviously, this is a team at the top of a lot of people's list, right? One of the most active in free agency, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Bolstering your depth that really hurts you in the playoff
Mhm.
run as people started to wear down. Get a lot more shooting when adding Gabe Vincent, when keeping Austin Reaves, when adding a Torian Prince. You get a lot of upside guys with youth and Jackson Hayes and Cam Reddish at the vet minimum. I think these were a lot of great ads for them to really bolster their roster, bolster their depth, and build around their two big stars in LeBron and Anthony Davis. So, thoughts on the Lakers?
I thought the Lakers won free agency. I thought the Lakers were they hit it out of the park. Honestly, I have nothing bad to say about the moves they make. I think they should add a backup center at some point to help tie a ribbon on this free agency. But I think that they won free agency by a landslide. I don't think it's even close personally.
Right on. You got another winner you want to give?
Winners. Yeah. No. I don't think I don't know if I have any other winners.
Can I throw one at you?
Sure.
I like what the Indiana Pacers did.
See, I was going to talk about that
because I like extending Haliburton. I think he's an excellent point guard for them. I think he's good. It is a lot of money, but that's kind of the going rate. And I look at that, and this is kind of like my perspective with the Jeremy Grant signing, right? Which we look at these and say a lot of money. Do you remember the signing the year after the cable deal when there were not a lot of big name free agents and guys like Harrison Barnes were getting max contracts, right? We're going to have that again in a couple years. The new TV money is coming in the next 2 or 3 years. So when the cap goes, it's at like 130 right now. I think about that, and it's up to 190 in 5 years. That deal is going to look a lot, and 5 years, 2 years. You're going to have 3 years of that guy on that deal, whether that's Jeremy Grant, whether that's Haliburton, right? So to get back to what the Pacers did, I like the addition of Bruce Brown. I don't know how he'll necessarily handle like playing more full-time minutes. But we'll see how he does with that. But he looked really impressive with the Nuggets. Haliburton, we talked about. I like taking a chance on a guy with an Obi Toppin trade, man. I like adding that piece in there where you get a young guy where he's a good addition for them, I think. So again, you're talking about early days of free agency. We're still waiting for a few shoes to drop for a couple teams and a couple players, James Harden, Dame Lillard, right? So just with the action that we have to talk about right now, I really do like what the Pacers did. And I know I've lamented the Kyrie Irving signing. But with what the Mavs had to do because of the corner they backed themselves into, paying Kyrie, extending Seth Curry, man, I think that Seth Curry ad, I like Seth, man. I feel like he's I feel like he is like a Patty Mills guy, like one of those underrated guys who is just so solid and consistent, gives you off the ball shooting, on the ball handling. I love that.
You know what it is? It's not a lot of teams that made enough moves, I would say. That have made me think that they won.
It's a move, but it's like a move, but you also lost somebody, so it's kind of net neutral, right?
That's why for me it's like the Lakers won free agency so far because they made the most moves by retaining their own. It had a good balance of retaining their own and also adding new pieces and addressing them. They were pretty aggressive, honestly.
Yeah,
I like the move Lonnie Walker to the Nets. I thought that was a good move.
Yeah,
a guy that I think has a tremendous upside as well for them.
I like them re-signing Cam Johnson too.
Yeah, I like that move a lot too. Some people thought he didn't deserve it, but
like we talked about, that money is going to look better in 2 years after a couple of people sign, and I still think getting him on a 4-year deal with that length is good.
Right. Sabonis back with the agreeing to an extension with.
But then they also brought back Harrison Barnes, which I didn't care for. So that's what kind of kept them off my winner. I feel like that was kind of a net neutral kind of good ad. And
you know what? I think it's a little too early to say winners just yet. Obviously, Lakers look like they are the winners, the clear winners. Let's talk about the losers, though.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some losers. For me, the Clippers are losers. They did nothing to bolster this roster. It's like basically running back with the same old thing, you know? I thought that was very, very interesting. Some other losers, I would say, for me were I thought the Nuggets were losers, honestly.
Losing Bruce Brown hurts. That's the war of attrition, right? That the championships, whether NFL, NBA, whatever, you get all these players that people see on a national stage and they say, we're going to overpay these guys like a Vincent or like a Bruce Brown to do what they need to do.
I lied. There is another winner.
Who's that?
Fred VanVleet to the Houston Rockets. I love that move. I thought the Rockets were.
I like that individual move, but I
Yes.
have the Rockets as losers
Yeah.
in mind. And there's a bit of context that needs to be put into that, right? Where the Rockets are trying to spend up to the cap floor. They're trying to fill out their roster with guys who have been there, who have experience, because they were basically a young team that played just chaos last year, right?
Yep.
And VanVleet is going to do a great job of organizing that chaos. Objectively, I do feel like it was a small overpay for VanVleet, which again, I'm nitpicking here because that's going to look better within a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Dillon Brooks, I don't get that at all. I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get the money. If you can tell me they had a bunch of suitors out there that wanted to give him that money, I'd say who,
Right.
like that's again, I know you want to, again, we're talking about, you're trying to build your culture and everything. And I don't know if Dillon Brooks is necessarily the guy I want to bring in for that. I feel like maybe there's some other wings that you could have gone with, some other defenders, just other avenues that you could have gone for 20 million a year, right? Is what he got. Yeah, that's a bit much. And then I also kind of wonder, just in long term, how does having these guys impact the development of some of their young guys? Because obviously they added some draft picks with some high capital, and you want to let these guys learn by experience, immerse them in the NBA experience, and get them that valuable knowledge and I keep saying, like I said, experience. How much are you going to be able to let Amen Thompson kind of handle the rock, grow as a point guard if you have to let VanVleet kind of dominate the ball? So again, good player, minor overpay, but I just question how the fit works there with, we really want to let these young guys grow and get as much opportunity as they can. But then you're going to have to give opportunity to VanVleet because he's going to be running your offense. It's going to be his position, is the ball dominant point, the distributor. I'm curious to see how all the pieces fit together. I understand the logic of, we need good players, we need veteran experience and leadership, and VanVleet is that. And I totally get that and like the player.
Right.
But again, I just wonder, are you cannibalizing your future a little bit with the opportunity that you have for your young guys?
Right. I agree. Another loser for me, Raptors.
They are starting to wear down, man. I'm wondering if, do you think Pascal Siakam he's got 1 year left on his deal right now and he's extension eligible. Do you think maybe we see him move toward the deadline?
I think we can see that happen. 100%. Right. And I think you're gonna have teams that are gonna be interested in
these. Oh yeah, you get a forward guy who can give you some rebounding, some kind of wing inside outside versatility, some shooting too. No, I definitely agree that they're starting to kind of wither away, and especially with new hire in the coach, I think you're going to see kind of a changing in the guard and rebuild there too.
What are your feelings on the Wizards?
I feel like they don't necessarily have direction. I feel like they've gotten some decent pieces. I like Kuzma's look good there. He has. Moving off of Porzingis after how he's looked pretty good there too.
Thank you for that from Boston Celtics.
Yes, I'm sure the Celtics are very happy to have that. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you had peak Porzingis right there, and then maybe you kind of offloaded them, at peak value. That's fine. I can understand the logic. I like bringing Kuzma back. Getting Jordan Poole is fine. What you're gonna have to pay him, that's a whole other story. I don't see the vision. I don't know. Are they competing? Are they rebuilding? Like, what are they doing? Like, I feel like they're kind of like in that nebulous, we don't know. We're just kind of acquiring things. Like, so and there is a little bit of value in that, right? When you get these guys, maybe you draft a guy and suddenly you have all these values and assets on contracts that you can trade for other pieces, right? That is part of the game, is acquiring those assets, but I just don't understand the direction. I'll tell you who a loser I have too is James Harden. Because clearly when he opted back in with the Sixers and said, I want to trade, just, find me who you can, I think that was the white flag for, my market is not what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
We reached out to a lot of people, and a lot of people did not reach back out or answer the phone.
Say, yeah, we're good.
So yeah, he said, okay, I'm going to play on this contract. You guys just find me someone whenever they're desperate enough to get to me. So I think it was a bit of a reality check for James Harden, this free agency. So he's one of my losers as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really curious to see what happens with James Harden, and if he isn't able to get that trade that he wants, how does that work with the process? Again, I don't know how it works, right? James Harden is I have my thoughts on that, but I'm really curious to see what takes place. I just I mean, what is even a likely fit for him? Like
I've heard like, okay, you know, like
Bulls,
I've heard I like your Bulls pick the best because everyone else I hear, I go, man, like you're either like we talked about cannibalizing minutes from other younger talented
Mhm.
players or introducing a weird kind of chemistry and attitude into an organization where he's been adamant in press
Right.
conferences. I want to have control of the offense and I want to dribble the air out of the ball. And
Mhm.
that's how I play and that's how I want to play. And like, so I've heard like the Knicks, but then why would the Knicks want to do that when you're having to give up quickly and maybe RJ Barrett and, you know, first round pick to put him next to Jalen Brunson, who's already running the offense and looking great. So like that doesn't make sense. And
Right.
then someone else has said the Clippers, but they just brought back Westbrook. Like
Mhm.
I don't know. Kawhi and Westbrook already like to dribble the hell out of the ball sometimes. So like how that fits, I don't really know. So it's always the fit's not quite right. But the Bulls are somewhere where he could say, "Hey, this is my team, and I'll dribble the hell out of the ball, and I'll
Right.
go put up what buckets I want to do." And
Why not? Okay, this is gonna be really out there.
let me
Why
hit
not
me.
the Raptors?
I don't. Maybe the Raptors are like the Wizards, where they would do that because they just don't know quite what they're doing. Because
Right.
you
What they're
have
getting themselves
Barnes,
into.
yeah, you have Barnes, you have Anunoby, so there's like two good younger pieces right
Right.
there. But outside of that, like, you're just crumbling right now. So does adding James Harden to that make you competitive in the East? Is that something you feel like you wanna do? I just again, I don't know if that matches up with the
Right.
timeline, which is always the trick with Harden because you gotta have a short-term view and a need at point guard, and I'm just not looking at a lot of teams. How about the Celtics?
Yeah.
I'm not
No.
wishing that on you, man.
No.
I'm
No.
kidding,
No.
but
No. No. I will respectfully say, you know what, Mr. Harden, you've been good,
you tried
but
Kemba, you tried Kyrie, you learned your lesson now.
yeah,
You don't wanna
yeah,
dip back into the James Harden well?
no. Let's just hope that the Celtics have learned their lesson for all of our sakes, right? But again, if you guys like more content like this, make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss when we go live or when we upload a video.